Today's Cowboys Report video is 5 potential surprise cut candidates via the ESPN Cowboys 53-man roster projection. I thought a full projection would be kind of boring, like we've done that and we'll do it before and we'll do it again. But I look at the 5 names, so I was surprised that Todd Archer did not have making the Cowboys roster. First up is Rico Dowdle, the running back, which I was most intrigued by because Dowdle's been hyped before as a, RB3 who could make some splashes there. Medical was a factor here from that standpoint. Dowdle missed all of last year with a hip injury. He has not been present at OTAs and minicamp, or I should say was not present at OTAs and minicamp due to an off-season knee scope. And that is why, in the end, Archer went with UDFA Malik Davis and fullback Ryan Nall, by the way, which is maybe a longer conversation on that standpoint there. Those were the 4 backs, with Nall playing a fullback role over the selection of Rico Dowdle, which I was intrigued by because I didn't love Malik Davis's tape at Florida. He didn't get the ball very much. We can blame Dan Mullen for that if we're being honest. It was pretty rough, the game plan there. 5.3 yards per carry is impressive. Did not test well. That was a big-time red flag for me. I was more impressed by the limited sample size, namely in the preseason, more so than the 7 carries back in 2020 that Rico Dowdle had. I have assumed he's RB3. Maybe my assumption is, well, you know what happens when you assume. Now, if you want an updated roster projection from us here at the Cowboys Report, show it by liking this video. Kind of a lull in the calendar right now with training camp still almost exactly a month away. But if you want a new projection before camp, like the video right now. Some of you will not appreciate this one. That is Simi Fehoko, the 5th-round pick out of Stanford in last year's draft class. He is fighting for one of the last roster spots at wide receiver, that 5th, 6th, maybe 4th, depending on if Malgop's healthy for week 1, is going to be one of the more hotly contested roster battle spots on this Cowboys team. One big issue is the lack of special teams value. Fehoko did not play special teams much at all last year. That is how Noah Brown has stuck around for so long on this Cowboys team. He's a core special teamer. Now, ESPN's projection was this: CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, James Washington, Jalen Tolbert, Noah Brown, and TJ Vasher. And what was actually most surprising to me was that not only was Vasher picked over Fehoko, Fehoko wasn't even mentioned. Instead, it was the last spots coming out of special teams, which could give Dennis Houston a chance. Dennis Houston, the UDFA out of Western Illinois, which, to be fair, the Cowboys have a fantastic track record with undrafted free agents from a Cardinal directional team in Illinois. That's worked out really well for them in the past. Houston is not a name that I studied a lot in the NFL draft. This is one to keep an eye out for, because if he's good on special teams, John Fossil might get to get his guy. But do you think Fehoko will make the Cowboys roster? I still lean towards yes, but that's going to be decided at camp in the preseason. Will he make the team? This is the pinned comment on today's video, so if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Type in Y for yes or N for no. Trysten Hill, who maybe isn't that big of a surprise, but he's going to be on here anyway. Archer said that the Cowboys could trade Hill before the year because he's been a pretty big disappointment so far. The cap savings if the Cowboys cut him, by the way, $1.16 million. Not too bad of potential savings for let's be honest, he's been a bust. I'm sorry. He has not been a good football player. And when I did my initial projection a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, I had the same 5 defensive tackles making the Cowboys team: Neville Gallimore, Osa Odigizua, Carlos Watkins, John Ridgeway, and Quinton Bohanna. Archer and I had the exact same 5 names: Gallimore, Osa, Watkins, Ridgeway, and Bohanna. I think that's what ends up happening, which means Hill does not make the team. So 3 routes then for the Cowboys to hypothetically explore with Trysten Hill. What do you think they end up doing with him in the end? Type C for cut, type K for keep, or type in T for trade. What do you think the Cowboys will end up doing with Hill? Sound off for me in the comments section. As we broke down on Wednesday's video, I have a tough time seeing the Cowboys finding a trade partner for Trysten Hill. It just seems unlikely in terms of he hasn't done anything. He has not been good in the NFL, and this would be two different defensive regimes saying, yeah, he's not our guy. The third one who adds him doesn't put any investment. It would kind of be like a Taco Charlton situation in the end. Now, the Cowboys Board is also on Rumble. We have free and uncensored content. We offer the sports. They've got other news, politics, if you're brave enough, tech, business coverage as well. We are trying to grow to platforms you guys use. So give us a follow. Rumble.com/CowboysTV. It's free. It's uncensored. All our videos go up there too. Hit us up. Rumble.com/Cowboys. The link will be in the comments and in the description of today's video. No cut candidate was more shocking to me than Chauncey Golston. And when I actually did this video initially, I actually didn't realize that Golston, or when I built the script for it, that Golston wasn't on here because I just assumed he was. Third round pick, not on ESPN's roster cut candidates. Now, Golston claims he's added 20 pounds to his frame. He was listed at 268 last year. He's had some hype around him at OTAs and minicamp. But Archer went with 4 defensive linemen, or edges, I should say. DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, and Sam Williams. No Chauncey Golston on that list. As a former early-ish third-round pick, that would be a pretty big stunner and be a departure from the Cowboys' typical MO. I was underwhelmed by Golston's impact last year, but I think a hybrid role would be really good for him to make an impact this year for the Cowboys. Do I think he's going to be suddenly like elite Tyrone Crawford or anything along those lines? No, I don't think that's going to be the case. But I think a release of Golston after 1 year, who is a higher floor rotational piece with less boom, less bust, a Golston cut would be a shock to me. Maybe on par with like the initial when we first heard buzz of, hey, Clinton Dix could be cut. That would be a similar shock to me because there have been positive things said on Chauncey Golston. And for Dallas to cut a third-round pick, given their typical MO, that quickly, that would be a real departure from the way they normally tend to operate. So that is certainly one to at least keep an eye on for here. Now, we will have all of the training camp coverage you'll ever need right here on the Cowboys Report. Camp gets underway. We'll break down the news and notes coming out of it, winners and losers, and that'll give us better insight who actually ends up getting cut for the Cowboys. One player who I'm not going to count as a surprise cut candidate because I think he's gone, Terrell Basham. Barring injury, the numbers game at edge, the money saved, Basham was not a surprise cut candidate, but I do think he's a good name to get cut. So with that in mind, name a player who you want the Cowboys to cut. Keep it realistic. They're not going to cut their high-priced players, but some of those more notable names who you're kind of over. Drop that name for me in the comment section. Who do you believe ends up getting cut by the Dallas Cowboys? Israel Mukuamu is last up here. He was the final surprise cut candidate on the ESPN roster projection there, in large part because Dallas only went with 4 safeties on the projection. Jaron Kearse, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, and Marquise Bell. So I do think a Mukuamu versus Bell battle is coming. I wouldn't be that surprised, though, if the Cowboys chose to roll with 5 safeties as opposed to 4. Because I think the numbers are doable for Dallas. The depth at safety is better than it's ever been in recent memory at the position. Not only are those 4 on there, plus Israel Mukuamu, I've heard some good things about Tyler Coyle. I've heard some good things on even Wanye Thomas, the other UDFA. So I am not out at this point when it comes to the situation involving Israel Mukuamu. He was really impressive in the preseason last year, but there might be a tough decision coming when it comes down to the safety numbers at the Cowboys roster.